Okay, welcome back to Canadian Connection and Happy New Year's to all the viewers of the show. To kick off 2017, we have an interview with owner of Modern Emulsions and Calgary-based artist Magda. Magda, how are you today?
Very good, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. This beautiful home of yours.
Thanks so much, thanks for having me.
So my question for you to start this off is, I'm under the impression that being an artist wasn't your original career path.
Right.
What were you working in, and what got you into that industry?
So I guess it started in biochemistry. I have a degree in biochemistry, which is first weird thing. I always loved science. And then right after that, I went into finance. Just switched gears. I was good in numbers in biochemistry, so I figured I'd be good in numbers in finance, and so that's what I took. Graduated with a degree in finance and went right into oil and gas accounting. Spent my first 8 years in oil and gas accounting and knew that there was something a little bit missing, and because accounting, I think, is very linear. You constantly just go from junior to intermediate to, you always go that same route. And then I finally hit like that peak in my group and said, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? And so I ended up switching companies to an international recruitment agency and became the controller there for a year. I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
You constantly think that the growth is going to accelerate and you're going to hit that spot, that sweet spot where you can say, I'm going to coast for the rest of my life. This is exactly where I need to be. And I constantly went through that path, and then once I reached it, it wasn't what I was meant to do. And then the downturn happened. So I had to, as part of doing finance and being a controller, I had to do the budget, and part of the budget was me needing to eliminate people from my team over the next year.
Oh, brutal.
And I couldn't do it. And for the first time, I was really upset that Calgary depends so much on oil and gas, and that we're so dependent on one commodity. And I started looking at different creative entrepreneurs, started going to markets, and I realized that there's a lot of amazing people out there, and I wanted to be part of that. And so I quit. And I had no idea what to do.
So you had nothing to fall back on, you just quit completely. Jeez.
I quit completely, and for the first 6 months afterwards, I didn't know what to do. I did yoga, I meditated, and I asked the heavens to tell me what I'm supposed to do, and I didn't know the answer. I knew I didn't want to do accounting consulting.
Yeah.
So then what? I ended up painting a piece of art for my husband's birthday, just because we never agree on art or the price of art. So I'm figured, how hard can this be? And I will just paint him something myself.
So, just kind of a backstory, had you ever painted anything before?
I had one art class in junior high, probably grade 7, and that's it.
That was it? Oh my gosh.
I mean, I painted with my nieces, painting with, canvases from the dollar store, and had a little bit of fun with them, but I've never actually painted.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, when you were painting the piece for your husband, was it similar to the stuff that you're doing
it's
now?
Actually, this one that's on my mantle, and it's my very first piece. It's his favorite, still to this day. And we ended up having a birthday party, and people complimented me on the piece of art.
Yeah.
And I didn't take them seriously because they're my friends and they're supposed to say nice things.
Yeah.
So I ignored them. And a couple months go by and my friends are still nagging me. Can you please paint me something? Can you please paint something? And I had leftover paint. And so I said, why not? And that turned into 2 and then 4. And that was in July. So his birthday was in April. I ignored it until July. July was when Modern Emulsions was born.
Oh my gosh. Now, just kind of going back a little bit on getting into this passion of painting, before you do these pictures, is it something in your head you can visualize them? For me, I don't think I could ever do something like this.
So it's the complete opposite of accounting. There's no deadlines, there's no spreadsheets, there's no formula to do certain things. And I love that because it's very free flowing, and all my work flows, which means it flows off the canvas, it flows onto the ground, it does whatever it wants to do. So as much as I say, yes, I'd like to plan it so that there's this here and there's that color here, at the end of it, things might change and I have to just let that happen.
That's so cool. So as far as Modern Emulsions goes, what was it that sparked in your head, hey, I'm going to use my accounting background and start an actual business out of this?
I took a leap of faith and I had a really good feeling about it, and that's why I did it. It had nothing, there's absolutely no planning involved. It's just that when I first had my first painting done, it was the right feeling. And when I did the second painting, that feeling came back. And then all of a sudden I was dreaming in different colors, I was dreaming in shapes, and I'd wake up in the morning and I'd have to go downstairs and start painting.
Jeez, so when you get up, like you've got this vision in your head and you get it onto the canvas.
Or sometimes I get a vision in the evening and then it's midnight and I go downstairs to paint.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
So it's very bizarre, and if the calling comes, then I just run downstairs and I just start painting.
That's so cool. Now, as far as these canvases go, they are not your traditional canvases. Where did you get the idea to do them, and what exactly is this that we've got here?
So this is a birch panel. Normally they're made in Canada, and I can buy them at the Inglewood art supply store, but I actually now have my friend making them for me, because it's just a sheet of wood, of birch wood, that he then just cradles. The reason why I use them is because resin is heavy, which is the second ingredient to my art. And the resin is heavy, so if you use just a regular canvas, it dips. And so all the edges would be naked, and it would be a big puddle in the middle of the resin. So it has to be a really strong, sturdy surface, and so that's why I use birch.
And no texture at all on this? This is
no texture, everything's smooth. Even the metallics are smooth over top of it too.
That is amazing. So one question I had, and for the viewers of the show here, where can they check you out online or within the community in Calgary?
So I do have a website. It's modernemulsions.ca.
Okay.
I also am on Instagram, which is where I do most of my communications with people on a day-to-day basis. And currently my work is at Vendome Cafe for the month of January.
Just hanging up on the walls, and that's in Kensington,
Kensington,
right?
yeah,
right.
That's in Kensington. From mid-January to the end of March, my art will also be at Cafe Blanca, which is in Eau Claire.
Sweet, yeah.
So that'll be good. I'm also doing my first Market Collective market in the spring, so that's in February.
Oh, nice.
So people will be able to see me in person as well.
That's awesome. So before we wrap it up, one question I had for you, I know reading your blogs, you're quite the reader. If you have one book that you could recommend to the viewers of the show, what would it be?
So I love all things fantasy, non-real as possible. So my current favorite book is Name on the Wind. It's the first book of a trilogy. Yeah.
That's awesome. So Name on the Wind and Modern Emulsions, check them out online. And I want to thank you so much for doing this interview.
Thanks so much.
And for those viewing the show here, please feel free to give any suggestions for any other interviews you may have. And don't forget to subscribe online.